Palestine authorities registered over 58,000 people killed in Israeli attacks since October 2023, mostly women and children. In Bangladesh, heavy rains triggered flooding in the southeast, affecting more than 50,000 people. The United Nations warns of worsening violence and new forced displacement in Haiti due to the actions of armed criminal groups. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Negotiations held in Doha by Qatar between Hamas Resistance movement and Israel to end the genocide in the Gaza Strip have stalled due to disagreements between both sides. According to Palestinian sources, the Hamas Resistance movement has opposed the withdrawal maps proposed by the Israeli army, as they would leave around 40% of the territory under occupation by the Zionist forces, including all of Rafah and other territories in the north and east of Gaza. This plan supposes to force hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians to move to a small area near the city of Rafah, on the border with Egypt. In this regard, both sides are divided over the entry of humanitarian aid into the Palestinian enclave. Indirect talks are expected to continue on Sunday despite recent obstacles. Palestinian authorities reported since the start of the latest conflict with Israel on October 7, 2023, some 58,000 people have been killed in the Gaza Strip. Health authorities in Gaza said that over the last few hours, fresh Zionist bombardments have killed more than 135 civilians and wounded another 425. Still, they point to the fact that there are still many victims trapped on the rubble, so the estimated death toll will rise. Since Israel resumed its genocide operations against the Gaza Strip following a ceasefire in March 2025, almost 7,500 people, mostly women and children, have been killed. And for its part, the Palestinian government denounced Israeli attacks against civilian areas in the Gaza Strip. The executive also rejected the forced displacement policies promoted by the Zionist government under the pretext of creating a humanitarian city south of the coastal enclave. Meanwhile, the urgent need for a ceasefire and guaranteed food supplies for the people of Gaza was emphasized. Also, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees has warned of a new increase in child malnutrition in the Gaza Strip amidst a shortage of essential supplies. The international organization warned that Israel's restrictions on the entry of humanitarian aid, including food and medicines, are worsening the living conditions of Palestinians. UNRWA urged the international community to guarantee delivery of supplies and promote an end to the humanitarian crisis faced by Palestinians as a result of Zionist aggression. And in Palestine, over 800 civilians were killed while trying to obtain food from distribution centers run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. These killings took place between May 27th and July 7th near the foundation sites. The United States and Israel backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation to cover food distribution after Tel Aviv imposed a 2-month blockade on Gaza. However, violence is not restricted to Gaza. The Red Cross showed concern about an attack that wounded several of its workers and volunteers. In another tragic incident, a person was beaten to death by Israeli settlers in Sinjil, highlighting the region's escalating violence. In Israel, thousands of citizens rallied in the center of the capital to demand that the government reach an agreement on a hostages exchange with the Palestinian Resistance movement, Hamas. According to statements by the demonstrators, there are currently 50 Israeli families held hostage in Gaza who will not be able to return home until Benjamin Netanyahu's regime agrees to a hostage exchange. Protests came amid reports of a stalemate in negotiations between the Israeli and Hamas delegations in Doha, capital of Qatar. According to a statement by the Israeli Hostages and Missing Families Forum, An absolute majority of the nation of Israel wants an end to the conflict in Gaza and the return of hostages.
It is very important to me to be here because there's a growing sense that Israel has completely forgotten the hostages. The government doesn't seem to care. Nothing matters to them except their own political survival. As a result, they refuse to reach an agreement. They keep playing this game of there are negotiations, there aren't negotiations. We accepted the deal. Hamas rejected it. If they truly wanted to, they would have ended this war already, stopped the pointless killing of Palestinians in Gaza, of the children in Gaza, and of course the killing of our soldiers. They could have made a deal, ended this cursed war, a war that started entirely because of their own failures. Everything needs to stop now. We must leave Gaza all at once and bring everyone back at once. No faces, no games. I don't trust Netanyahu. I don't trust his government. They prove it. They earned this lack of trust, honestly. They violated all the guarantees. They violated everything they promised to do. There is zero trust.
We now have our first break coming up. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news, updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. The President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, announced that the bloc will postpone the imposition of tariff countermeasures against the United States until August 1st. The official emphasized that Europe is prepared to take action against Washington if no solution to trade relations is found. Von der Leyen stressed that the European Union will continue to prepare its action plan, which includes 2 packages of countermeasures to the White House's impositions. The United States imposed 30% tariffs on goods from the European Union, despite the fact that previous taxes remain in force. And in Italy, Pope Leo XIV urged to reject war and pray for those who suffer it. During Sunday's Angelus prayer, the leader of the Catholic Church stressed the importance of empathy. He also re-established the tradition of spending the summer at Castel Gandolfo, a custom interrupted during Francis' pontificate. At the initiative, the presence of Pope Leo XIV was celebrated by the local community. And Chinese Foreign Minister Wang urged East Asian countries to return to dialogue, development, and openness. During the 15th Foreign Ministers meeting of the East Asia Summit, the Chinese Foreign Minister urged all countries in the region to enhance understanding and trust, maintain peace and stability, and promote development and prosperity. He also made the suggestion of returning to dialogue, development, and openness. Regarding the Taiwan region, Wang Yi pointed out that the root of the tension in the Taiwan Strait is the secessionist actions on the island and external interference. The Chinese Foreign Minister also reiterated the country's firm position on the South China Sea disputes. Russia and China strengthened their trade and friendship relations following a meeting between the foreign ministers of both nations in Beijing. The head of Russian diplomacy, Sergei Lavrov, expressed his satisfaction with the unprecedented development of relations between the two global powers. The bilateral talks took place within the framework of the meeting of the Council of Foreign Ministers of the member states of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, scheduled for this July 15th. Lavrov said that they will discuss issues related to a peaceful Asia and the role of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the BRICS groups in the region. And the main political forces of New Caledonia, together with representatives of the French states, signed a project that seeks to establish a solution for the institutional instability of the overseas territory. The 13-page document addresses institutional, economic, and social issues. It states that New Caledonia will stay part of the French Republic. The agreement also allows Caledonia to have its own nationality alongside French nationality. The agreement must be approved by the New Caledonian inhabitants by 2026 and by the French Parliament for constitutional reform. Since 1853, France has been occupying militarily, exploiting economically, and oppressing culturally the indigenous population of the island. And in Bangladesh, heavy rains have caused flooding in the Feni district southeast of the country. Authorities report that despite a decrease in rainfall, some areas are still flooded, including the areas in Chalagalnaya and Sadar Upazila, where over 50,000 residents are affected and where the electricity supply has been cut off as a precautionary measure. Villagers say that the government's delay in starting rescue efforts is endangering civilians.
Last year, we had 2 flooding episodes. We have serious problems with people, livestock, and property because of these floods. Would people now be forced to choose between saving their young children or saving their property?
And in the United States, in Arizona, Grand Canyon National Park, visitors had to be evacuated due to the spread of wildfires. Local authorities said at least 500 tourists had to be evacuated due to the rapid spread of the flames, which have been affecting the state of Arizona for several days. According to reports, the wildfires have been only contained to a 15% after a lightning strike sparked the flames. Grand Canyon will remain closed until further notice to support firefighting operations and ensure public safety. The U.S. authorities have suspended the search for missing persons due to flooding in central Texas. Fire department officials ordered search teams to immediately evacuate the Guadalupe River corridor in Kerr County until further notice. They reported that at least 129 people died, while more than 170 are missing. Due to Sunday's rains, the National Weather Service warned that the Guadalupe River could reach nearly 4.5 meters in the afternoon, approximately 1.5 meters above flood stage. The National Coordinator for Disaster Reduction in Guatemala continues to follow up and pay attention to the effects of the earthquake that occurred in the afternoon of Tuesday, July 8th. Through a statement, the entity presented the emergency figures recorded during the earthquakes, with the capital department being the largest number with 106 registered emergencies, followed by Zacatepeques with 64 and Esquintla with 58. Locations in which shelters were provided, evacuation teams deployed, and aid delivered. The Institute of Seismology, Volcanology, Meteorology, and Hydrology reported 748 seismic events since last Tuesday, 31 of which were sensitive, and the main one occurred on Saturday itself with a magnitude of 5.6 in the Richter scale. We have a second break coming up. Before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at TeleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final break, don't go away. Welcome back. The United States social movements denounced the inhumane conditions in the Alligator Alcatraz detention center for migrants opened by Donald Trump on July 1st. Activists warned that the penitentiary was built on an abandoned airstrip surrounded by alligators, has electrical faults, and no air conditioning. There are 32 detainees per cell in the center, sharing bunks and bathrooms in unhealthy spaces. Social movements urge that the center be closed because it does not have the conditions to house human beings. The United Nations is warning of worsening violence and new forced displacements in Haiti. UN High Commissioner Rina Shamdasani said that growing gang violence in Port-au-Prince, the capital, has claimed over 1,000 lives and forced hundreds of thousands of civilians to flee their homes. The UN High Commissioner stressed that the increase in human rights violations by armed groups is worrisome. Shamdasani emphasized that the violations and abuses in Haiti demonstrate the urgent need for the international community to take action to put an end to such violence. And in Venezuela, the candidates of the Simón Bolívar Great Patriotic Poll continued the electoral campaigns for the municipal elections of next July 27th. The revolutionary people accompanied the various mobilizations that took place throughout the country in support of the candidates of the Great Patriotic Poll. Through participatory and protagonist democracy, citizens will elect a total of 335 mayors and 2,471 councilmen with an equal number of alternates. Likewise, on July 27th, the first national popular consultation of the youth will be held, a unique project that identifies young people as main actors in the collective transformation of the nation. The Venezuelan candidates of the oppositions also started their electoral campaigns with rallies and tours in different sectors of the country. Among them, the municipalities of Chacao, El Hatillo, Baruta, and the city of Maracaibo. Candidates urged the population to participate in the municipal elections to be held next July 27th, where mayors and councillors will be elected throughout the country. And in Chile, the leader of the far-right National Libertarian Party, Johannes Kaiser, made official on Saturday his candidacy for the presidential elections to be held next November. In his speech, Kaiser shows that despite once again the only candidate of the left, the communist Janet Jara. He unleashed a new controversy days before when he declared that he would support a coup d'etat like the one that brought to power the military junta led by Augusto Pinochet and that overthrew the democratic government of socialist Salvador Allende. Before a group of supporters, the candidate attacked his opponent Janet Jara, and he even lashed out at former socialist president Michelle Bachelet, with whom the media is already comparing Jara. And Latin America commemorates 71 years since the death of Mexican surrealist artist Magdalena Frida Carmen Kahlo y Calderón, better known as Frida Kahlo. Born in Coyoacán, Mexico on July 6, 1907, daughter of photographer Guillermo Kahlo and Matilde Calderón, the artist was a member of the Mexican Communist Party, where she met her husband, also a plastic artist, Diego Rivera. Kahlo dedicated at least 150 works to her experiences, mainly self-portraits. She died at 47 years old after suffering a non-traumatic pulmonary embolism, leaving a legacy of freedom and dedication to art.
En 1970, cuando su trabajo fue redescubierto por historiadores del arte y activistas.
In Venezuela, the Argentine writer and screenwriter Vicente Batista won the Romulo Gallegos Award for his book, The Simulacrum of Mirrors. The winner of the 21st International Romulo Gallegos Nobel Award was announced at the Venezuela 2025 International Book Fair. In his new book, the writer breaks the limits of realism and explores individual enigma and social function. The novel, set in an oppressive environment, explores the limits of freedom and control and the individual against collective identity. Batista subtly combines social critique and existential mystery in a work that invites reflection. After the verdict, Batista thanked the court and condemned the media and the right-wing policies of the Argentine president Javier Milei.
The fact that they have chosen me, that they have chosen the simulacrum of mirrors, that novel that moves me as much as writing it, well, what can I say? It fills me with joy, makes me want to go on living and know that all is not lost. Even though at this moment in Argentina we are living through the most terrible of the ultra-right, the most terrible of a government that is systematically destroying culture, science, pensioners, students, everything. In spite of all that, we go on and celebrate this award. I celebrate it above all things.
At this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at TeleSURenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. With TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.